Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Podcast Posse podcast. My name is Dan, and this week we are going to be talking about music, specifically the merging of genres and whether or not Old Town Road should be at the top of the charts. This week we are joined with Noah, Brianna, Jade, and last, Miss Pollock right there on the end. She got a Miss Pollock. That's right.
She got a fancy name.
Sorry.
No relation to
Right,
Jackson
forgot
Pollock.
it.
All right. So for the first segment, we want to address something that's going through the interwebs at the moment, and that is the song Old Town Road. Are any of you guys familiar with that road? With that road?
That Old Town Road.
Old Town Road.
You know what? I am familiar with that road.
100% meme song, but it's good.
Endorsement.
Because usually people are like, oh, it's a meme song, and so you just like throw away any like credibility that kind of comes with it, I feel like. But this one, like, you listen to it and I was like, I actually kind of like it.
It's good.
But then also it's like a kind of like a guilty pleasure type of thing, I feel like, too. Because like it gets stuck in your head so fast, and you just be like chilling, minding your own business, and then you're like, I'm gonna take my.
It sneaks up on you from behind.
I don't know, but it's definitely catchy.
Okay, so let's lay out something real quick. Do we all agree that it's a good song?
Yeah, it's catchy.
Okay,
especially
perfect.
Especially if you don't
That's
like
we can
country,
get
I feel like that would be a perfect song to play. If you don't like country, there
I
you
100%
go.
agree.
That will help you encourage to like country.
So we can all agree that that's not what this discussion is about.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
This discussion is whether or not it belongs on the country charts,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
apparently a good portion of the internet and pop culture in general seems to be very opinionated about. So does anyone want to give a rundown about like how this all started?
Well, okay, so it all
Go ahead.
started from this artist named Lil Nas X. He basically, honestly, he was just making a song just to be playful. He wasn't even trying to make it serious, and it just blew up in December. And then all of a sudden, he actually allowed his song to be free on TikTok. And so he started this challenge called the Yeehaw Challenge, or the Yee Juice, or something like that. Yeah. And so basically people have like a good challenge, and basically like after like the challenge they'll change into like cowboy attire or whatever with that
Big
song in the
horse
background.
Okay.
And then like the music video itself, there's like no actual music video. It's just like a video game. Like it's just like a video from a video game, and he just put his music in the background. It was
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There it is.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know what it's called.
I
so-
remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but like after that happening, it just blew up. And I don't think he was, like I said, I think he was just trying to be playful about it and just like mingle two things to something that he's from, like, because he is from the South, he's from Atlanta, Georgia, so
Right.
it's like he implied I felt like he implied hip hop and country at the same time when he was just doing it just to be playful, and it just ended up blowing up, and then everybody and their mama started liking it.
So how did Billy Ray Cyrus get involved into it too?
He got involved because people, once it hit the billboards, it was on number 19, and then as soon as people started having controversy saying, oh, that's not country, Billboard took it off. And that's when Billy Ray decided to come involved
Save the day.
and then it went back on the Billboard again because of him being part of it.
Back specifically on the country charts.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he felt it was similar to his situation with Achy Breaky Heart, which we talked about.
And that was for reference.
Yes.
Sorry, she has a reference card that she's supposed to pull out at this moment, but she didn't.
It's a there you go.
reference.
For reference, it has to do with Achy Breaky Heart, because Billy Ray Cyrus also got taken off the country charts for that song because they didn't feel that it was country enough.
Yeah. But what is country enough?
I know. Wow, what a question to pose.
No, but that's a good
It's
question.
an important
though.
philosophical question of our age. I mean, honestly, it's.
Is it?
Because I do understand it, because when you listen to the song, it has heavy bass, it has a lot of hip hop effects to it.
Yeah.
But he's literally singing about taking his horse to
the
places
Old
and stuff
Town
like
Road.
he like one of his
The
actual
basic
lines. He says
things.
"Wrangler on my booty." Like
does.
that's a country song. Come on,
Yeah.
like what? All like lyrics, full country, but
Yeah.
the beat is definitely hip hop.
Yeah.
So I feel like because those like merge together, they're like, that's not country. But I mean, look at
what
just
people
look
at
that.
Billboard
It's a 5-year-old billboard with their
Look at,
crayon,
like, the evolution
not
of
country.
music, though. Like genres have always like gone with each other and like collided and stuff like that. And so now when it's like rap and like country, now it's like what? what's going on? Take that off of there. And then Billy Ray Cyrus was like, nope, I'm going to do this. And it's
I'll
literally
lead on
the
it.
same song with like one of his verses.
Yeah.
And now
It
it's
is.
number one.
Yeah.
Yep. So apparently that's all it takes for Billboard to say like, oh, this belongs on the country charts.
Yeah. you
One
just
Billy
need-
Ray.
Yeah, one
verse.
Billy Ray verse.
One
That's
Billy
it.
Ray.
But
That's
it's
all
just
you need.
sad that they have to. It's just sad that he had to feel like he had to get himself involved in the song because itself, just by
Definitely.
itself, it is a country song.
Yeah.
It is a country
It's
song
just
for sure.
It just doesn't sound traditional. Because my whole thing
Exactly.
is, if it's not considered country, then they shouldn't be adding rock or pop into country because they do it all the time.
All the
So
time.
it's like, if you consider those genres part of country, then why can't you add this into it?
That's
And the
what you were
only
saying,
reason,
right?
Like, I mean, sure, there's like pop genre and stuff like that, but pop. Also, if we think of pop culture,
Yep.
it's short for popular culture.
Right.
Yes.
It's what a lot of people like because it's good.
Right.
And that's okay if you like something that is pop. I hate the people who say, "Oh, I don't like it. It's too pop. Like I don't listen to pop music." Like, but
You
it's
will.
good because
Yeah.
it's everyone listens to it because it's good.
Yeah.
And
Right.
everyone enjoys it. And that alone should not distinguish whether something is or isn't another genre as well.
Well, that's another thing too. So you're talking about pop music. It's like pop is literally stand for like what's popular at the
Yeah.
moment, right?
Yeah, what's
so like
poppin'?
is
That's what it stands for. What's poppin'?
what's poppin'? The more you know.
For reference?
For reference.
Taking it out.
But like right now, who's at the top of the charts consistently? It's like Drake.
No.
Ariana Grande.
You're very
Ariana.
wrong about that.
Khalid.
Drake is always at the top. What are you talking about? That
He
dude
hasn't been
is.
at the top in like a year or two.
Okay, well, see,
But I get where he's
what?
coming
I'm in my
from.
own
Yeah,
Spotify
saying
world.
If
Yes,
you consider
but, like,
popular is
what-
in the hip hop
what-
genre mainly.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
What is the
Yeah.
genre that's at the top of the pop charts? Is
Hip hop is kind of
Rap.
pop.
100%.
So like,
It's pop
what
culture
is
now at this
pop
point.
really then? If
Yeah.
it's just I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
Yeah.
mean-
making
No,
a
I'm,
point.
I'm, no, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Because nowadays, hip hop is considered pop culture now. It's not. It's
Yeah.
obviously it's still hip hop, but it's pop culture now because everybody listens to it now.
Heck
No,
yeah.
I feel like it's just a cycle. It's like when rock first started coming out, and they're like, "That's not music," and then they're
Everybody
Yeah,
like,
that
sounds
goes
like
for
that.
every
Everybody
genre of
sounds like
music.
that too.
Yeah.
That's
we're
every
okay.
naysayer.
Yeah, that's every
That's
naysayer
not-
or something like that. And then it's like transition. We like rock now, and then rap came out, and they're like, "That's not music." And then like transition. We like rap now, and so now it's like a merger with like country, and they're like, "That's not country," but it's like, give it a while, they're gonna like it.
Yeah, basically.
Give it a second.
I mean, honestly, if something is popular enough and any big exec is like, this could make money, then they're
Yeah,
like, I accept this
100%.
now. It doesn't really matter what it is.
I do wonder how they decide that. Who said what is the criteria then for a country song?
That's true.
Wrangler.
I think
But he
just
mentioned
sometimes-
Wrangler.
A truck? Yes, a truck. A
So he did
tractor,
mention
Some
truck,
sort of
a tractor,
animal that
wranglers,
you would find on a
horse.
horses,
farm.
dogs.
dogs.
I
What
think
about
they're looking more
what about
on,
a girl in the back seat?
I'm thinking of their. I think
Windows
they're
are
just.
rolled down.
Oh,
I
wow.
think they're looking more at the
Tractors.
actual like instruments itself. I don't think they're looking at the lyrics too much because if that was the
So how
freaking
it's
case,
crafted.
yeah,
Yeah.
So I think that's why they were just trying to make it seem like, oh, it's not country because it doesn't sound traditional. It doesn't sound like the
Exactly.
traditional way of country music. But it's
But
like, why
Also,
not?
The tone of his voice and how he was singing
Yeah.
was
Very
country.
That's
country
I know.
was.
That's what
Or
I'm
are you
saying.
discounting anybody who sings with those country like instruments,
Right.
but not that voice?
Yeah.
Is it still country then?
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like,
Ooh, look at that. Look at
no,
that
but it's true
spin
though.
on it.
I think there's like a few like, and people are also making it seem like it's a cultural thing, and I don't think it is necessarily only because there are some black country artists. It's just there may not be as many,
No,
but there are
that's what we were
some
saying.
there.
That's where it originated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like,
it,
I don't think-
country
yeah, I
came
don't think
from
that's-
blues. It came from bluegrass. I think that's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where it originated from. So what's the point? Like that's how other subgenres or new genres start to become because they hear it from something else. They just sample it and they just change it dramatically, and then that's how a new genre comes about.
I feel like too, it's kind of like a double standard type thing. Like you were saying, like let's say if someone's playing full banjo, whole song, but the dude's rapping over it, is it a rap song?
Is
And I think they've done that before. Actually, I think there
Is
was
it-
like an
yeah.
actual country singer where he's rapping, but the like traditional sound is country, and that's it. But they consider that country though. So it's kind of like then why? How come it's okay for him to rap over it, but then if the other guy who sounds country, but just because the music itself doesn't sound a traditional way, why is that not considered country then?
Has it worked that way in the reverse? Like where? So once the initial song was taken off the country charts, where did it go?
Nowhere.
I know. I think they just got rid of it.
It was just like,
Nothing.
Yeah, to
whoa.
the void.
Yeah. You've been banished
Yeah.
to the to the alt charts.
That's like
Oh.
actually, well, yeah, they just vaulted it. And that's actually what happened. They were like, no, we're gonna take this down and then
Yeah, it's gone.
keep it on the floor for a little bit, and then Billy Ray picked it up and put it right back up there.
He said, "Try me."
Yeah.
Dusted it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It-
Isn't that like the fun fact about it too? That's like his very first #1 hit.
That's hilarious if it is.
I'm pretty sure that's his #1, like, or his
What?
first like actual #1 song, because like the Achy Breaky Heart and the other one
Yeah.
that he had, they were like maybe top 5, top 10, but he never hit
Oh,
#1.
he never hit number
Wow.
And then
Yeah,
Old
that's
Town Road came along, and he was like, "Let me save the day."
You're welcome, Billy Ray. No, but talking about again like genres merging. There's already artists that kind of do what Lil Nas did. I mentioned like Florida Georgia Line just because that's the only one that I really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But they're kind of the same thing. They like to rap. That's one of their things is they rap.
Yep.
They rap with rappers, like well-known rappers on their songs too.
Yep.
But they're country artists.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that merging of those two genres has already happened. So I
Yeah.
don't get the the big deal about it.
The lines are just getting blurred between the genres in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, you can definitely tell which is which most of the time.
Yeah.
But like when you do have that where it's like a chorus, I don't know, with a rap artist,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest of it with the verses has like, the background of country. You're like, so what is this?
Or
then?
even like with like you have like Maroon 5 with Cardi B. Like
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
what,
Oh, yeah.
what
Yeah,
genre
exactly.
is that?
Look at that.
Is
That's
that
actually a good
rap
song.
or is it pop? Like
Pretty good song.
Is pop even a genre?
Like what?
I
Yeah.
know.
See, but then also
What
like
genre
when
is
you,
Maroon
because you were
5?
saying this earlier, like Taylor Swift.
You want to know?
Isn't that you brought that up, right? Like Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
came out full country girl.
Yep.
Yep.
And then
Country
she
Horse
turned
girl
around.
energy.
You belong with me.
energy.
100%.
You belong with me.
And then she went top of the pop, all the way.
And it's like she slowly merged and like
Yeah.
her
So
style
it's
changed
like-
She
over
did.
time.
So then, is it
she
okay
was
to
still
like change your
considered-
style, or like people are gonna be defined by a genre? Like all that kind of stuff. It's like obviously you can't. Like I feel like Lil Nas X, he has rap songs too.
Yeah.
Like he has actual just rap, like it fits that genre, perfect, whatever. But like then he's gonna have this country one, and I feel like let him put out whatever he wants. Doesn't matter.
That's
I mean,
true.
Taylor Swift killed the game in country, won every single
the game.
whatever award they have going on. Yeah, is
CMTs.
that what they're called?
She robbed
Yeah.
Beyonce.
No,
Yeah.
CMT.
Yeah.
Country music. Oh.
But I was gonna say that's what considered an artist is though. You have to like submerge other genres or willing to listen to other like
Definitely.
music itself.
Yeah.
That's what makes you an artist.
Yeah.
You can't just listen to one genre and leave it at that. You have to at least be open-minded to other songs and other types of artists themselves. And
Yeah, I,
feel like
think it
that's what
just
make it
shows
better.
like adaptability and like listening into different genres just draws inspiration for different
Yeah,
stuff. So it's like
exactly.
you can't just keep yourself contained in one area, because then that's when you end up like Soulja Boy.
Oh yeah, he did.
Wow, good job burning up Soldier Boy.
Well, he didn't go far. Okay.
My high school experience.
Tears.
I know.
No, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think artists are less afraid to try different things now.
Yeah,
I mean, like one of my favorites is like Anderson .Paak, and he raps and he sings.
100%.
Like he does like
That's a good
hardcore
example.
like R&B
Yeah.
type old
I love
Motown
it.
music,
Heck yeah.
and then he like spits really hard on
Yeah.
some songs. And it's like, where do you put him? It's like, why do you have to label
Well,
him?
that's-
He's just making the music he wants to
Exactly.
make. You know what I
That's
mean?
kind of the same thing with Post Malone.
Yeah.
Like people are like, is he a rapper? Is he like a singer? Like what? But it's just like the same thing. Like they are who they are. They
Yeah.
like put out
Yeah.
the music they want to put out. And if you want to put them into genres because that's the business side of it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
gotta fit them into a thing to like win this award or that kind of stuff. It's all like marketing. But at the end of the day, let them put out whatever they want.
Yeah.
And maybe
That's
that's
true.
our generation of music, is that it's a combination of things. It's not necessarily like you think 80s music and you think of like David Bowie, like you think of like
Duran Duran.
Duran, like you think of like synthetic, like there is a tone you
Yeah.
hear
Yes.
when you think of it. And
Yeah.
so maybe ours is just this.
Yeah.
It's a combination of things where people are doing what they want and they don't stick to a particular sound. They kind of jump around and they meld different things to create something new.
I think you're right about that. I think
Yeah.
that is
100%.
some
was
music
art.
right now.
Right.
For our reference.
For reference.
All right, perfect. Well, now that we have a little bit of a roundup of what's going on today, when we come back, we can discuss a little bit about music as a whole and the trajectory it's taken to get to now. Stay tuned.
If you are interested in a career in sports broadcasting, whether you're commentating a live game,
or hosting your own TV show,
or working behind the scenes, then this is the class for you.
For more information, contact Greg Poff, that's me, at solano.edu.
we hope to see you here next semester, and remember,
It's more than just sports, it's an education.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second segment of today's episode of the Podcast Posse Podcast. In this second segment, we are going to talk a little bit about how we got to this melded version of music that we have today. So, like we were talking about before, in our last segment, we talked a little bit about how each sort of decade has its own defining sound or whatever. When did we get to this point where it kind of, boop,
The great.
When Walk This Way came out.
walk this
Yeah.
way?
Walk this
Okay.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. With
Is that the name
Run,
of the
is it
song?
Run? Is it?
It's
featuring
I think it's Run DMC
Yeah.
and
Aerosmith.
there we go.
Yep.
What year was that?
That was in the 80s.
80s.
Okay.
And
So
they
it's-
collided rock and hip hop together.
Yeah.
But then
Hey-o.
Eminem did it too with Aerosmith, right? What
Probably.
song did he do with them?
I don't know.
Because Eminem did one of those.
That's right. There's, I
And
mean,
it was, and people were like, "What? Like, rock and rap? Like, what?"
Whoa!
to
But
get
yes.
boop.
Yeah, together.
That's the sound they made
Yeah.
when they came together. Boop.
But then we don't get the same feedback when you hear Old Town Road.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, it's
yeah.
it's become so. That's the thing. It's become super normalized. Like you're right. They had those one-offs in the '80s. They had in the '90s, and then even, especially in the early 2000s, there was a lot of that, melding together. But honestly, based on what I've seen, the way that a lot of these hip hop artists and I guess artists that you wouldn't have seen at the top of the charts, 30 years ago, got there was that melding of like the rap verses
Yeah.
with like the pop star who
Yeah.
does the chorus kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's been a staple since like 2003.
Yeah,
It really,
definitely.
Yeah.
That's true. Look at Eminem and Rihanna killing it out
Oh,
here.
see,
That's true.
That is the
Nothing-
best pairing
nothing but
ever.
hits.
Yeah.
Nothing but hits.
Nothing can stop them.
No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Everything they put out is gold.
Yeah,
It's so good.
Literally everything. Like if it says featuring Rihanna, you're like, oh well, here we go. Top of the charts.
This is it.
Yeah, that featuring element that started, just 20 years
I
ago
know,
or
it's
so.
becoming
Yeah,
more
that's
common
true.
Yeah.
now because
Yeah. It
everybody's
is.
featuring everybody.
Everyone
Yeah.
has everyone.
I think that's a huge aspect of it too. Now, like I'll see like new artists put out like little like track lists and stuff. And I'm like, oh, like who's on their album? You know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's another like excitement factor where you're like these two people are collabing. You're like, I like this person. Like this person has a lot to offer, and then like the two artists like come together, and you're like,
Yeah.
amazing.
Anderson
That's
.Paak just did a
great.
song with Smokey Robinson.
Yes,
it
and I didn't know
kills me.
who
It's
Anderson
awesome.
.Paak. I didn't even know who Anderson .Paak was until he did the collab with Mac Miller.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm like, Anderson .Paak is amazing.
He's awesome.
Like he kills it every
Yeah.
time.
It's
That's
that
true. I was
exposure
gonna say those
factor.
kind of-
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's
It's
It's
always-
a lot of exposure, definitely.
it's helpful, but sometimes could be hindering because I feel like sometimes when you do have collaborations, that maybe that other person might end up being more famous than the other. Like for example, like B.O.B. and like Bruno Mars.
Yep.
When
Oh,
Bruno
that's
Mars was
true.
featured
Straight
with
up.
B.O.B.,
That's
B.O.B.
true.
ain't nowhere as much anymore, but
Nope.
Bruno, he's all everywhere.
Well, that was like what? It was the Rihanna, Kanye West, and oh my gosh, who was it?
Oh,
Paul McCartney.
and
Everybody
everyone was
was
like, "Oh, they're gonna make him famous." Like he's been famous, boo boo.
my
Like he's
God.
been famous.
That was so sad. People were like, I don't know who Paul McCartney is, but Kanye gonna make him blow up. And I
And
was
it's like, boo boo. He's gonna make him blow up.
What
Like
do you-
he's gonna make Kanye and
That's
Rihanna blow up.
Yeah.
But that's because the younger generation doesn't know who he. Like some generation,
stupid.
younger generations
They're
don't know who that
100%
is.
Yeah, we do.
I don't want to call him stupid because it's maybe not their fault that they weren't exposed to his music
too
or
nice.
don't know who he is.
You're too nice, Brianna.
I'm just saying. You
I didn't
look at
really listen to the
different
Beatles growing
perspectives.
up. I know who Paul McCartney is.
Yeah.
I know who
that's
Ringo
for sure.
Starr is.
Yeah, it's
You know
like
what
a
I mean? I mean
household
Ringo.
name.
That's impressive.
Ringo Starr was a meme before memes.
Oh wow, that's true. That's sad. He's like, oh, I'm on the Beatles, and they're like, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm the drummer, and they're like, ah, that's.
Was that the old joke with the Beatles? Was like,
Yeah.
they said like, what do you think of Ringo as a drummer? He's like, or what did they say? Ringo isn't even the best drummer in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
Burning up Ringo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they asked him, was like, do you think Ringo's like the best drummer in the world right now? They're like,
not even
Ringo's the best drummer in the band.
Oh man.
That's right. Came out too
That
late.
is
Dang it.
Friends. But yeah, so I do feel like you're right. The featuring aspect is a really big deal now. Working with people that are current now, like, you know, Cardi B, the second she blew up, she was on everybody's song.
That's
Literally everything.
And then bringing people back from, like, you know, like we talked about Smokey Robinson and Paul McCartney and everything like that. You bring people back and you're like,
Yeah, you like
oh,
pay homage
cool.
to like
Yeah.
where you came from and
Yeah.
like the stuff you were listening to. You drew inspiration from those artists.
The inspiration
Super
thing.
cool. It's
Yeah,
super
you're
cool
right.
to see those artists collab with like
Yeah.
that's their hero or whatever, and like they make
Yeah.
like different art and that kind of thing. I think that's crazy.
Lizzo just did a song with Missy Elliott and it was really cool.
What?
Yeah.
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 Especially when it's two people that like you didn't really think how it was gonna go at first.
Yeah.
That's
like
true.
when like you see like the Post Malone 21 Savage, you're like,
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that was
You're
gonna
like,
work.
I don't know. And then Rockstar is one of the biggest hits. It has like 1 billion streams on Spotify, all that stuff. Huge song. And then 21 Savage put out his album, and he did it to where, like, you know how some artists do, like, it doesn't say what the song is featuring?
Yeah.
So you just have to kind of listen and be like, what? Like, they're on here? What is that? Yeah, replay. But, like, it was on there,
gonna
and
be
Post
surprised.
Malone was featured on one of the songs. And, like, right away, I was like, this is one of my favorite songs on the album. Like, it was crazy because I didn't expect them to click like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like some people just like when they make a song together, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're like, yes. Like when it was Kyle and Lil Yachty for their song, it was like I Spy or whatever. That was a hit. Like it was a huge hit. And it was like I did not think they would even make a song ever. I think that's just a super cool factor.
It is awesome.
I think it's made music better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100%
More
agree.
interesting and
Yeah.
way better.
It's like,
I think it
and
also made it more competitive
Yeah.
too, because some people are like, I want him to feature on the song so I can just body on the song and like do like A1 and then they can suck on it and then people can be like, it's real. People will be like, I need to outdo him if we're on the same song together. Like there's a
Yeah.
whole competitive factor to it too.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Cause I can see like who like put more effort into their lyrics.
Yeah, like you hear the
especially if it's in
verses.
rap and you hear other artists who are
Yeah.
already in it, you can hear like who did it better and like who
Definitely,
didn't really
yeah.
take the time to actually like write things
Yeah.
down and think through.
And then you have people who say like, Timber would be great if it was only Britney. Like you get things like that where people say like, sorry Pitbull, you can leave
Wait.
Timber.
That's Kesha.
Oh my god.
are you joking right now?
Can we start over?
Delete it. This was like Timber Britney. I was like, what is
Britney?
that song?
Kesha.
Brittany had
That's
the year that song
I knew
came out.
exactly what
Brittany
you're
had
talking
shaved
about.
her head. That was-
Did she really?
No, I don't think
I
it was.
was gonna say,
later
was it
than
years
that.
before
It was
then?
no Timber.
Yeah.
Well, she
That's
shaved her
what
head in
I'm saying, like, years
2007.
before, like,
She shaved her head in
she's been shaved her
2007,
head.
and then so Timber came out in what 2011, maybe. I don't know, 2010.
I have no
I see.
idea.
We all don't know.
I don't know. It was
not-
when
It
she
was-
still had the dollar sign in her name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
you know
Okay.
that.
And then
It was
like,
all
leaked
like
out,
her.
everyone was like, wish this song only had this part
Yes.
because that was the good part. So
Yes.
then you get competition of that where it's like, wow, I wish we didn't have the rest of that song, just that chorus.
I think even like the bad parts of songs grow on you sometimes. Like if you there's a part of a song that you like
that's-
enough, you kind of just like through the part of the song that you don't like,
Yeah.
and then you get back to the part of the song you do like.
Yes.
So I feel like people can kind of like tune it out, or you just like turn it down,
Or
or like you
skip
change
it.
the song, yeah.
Yes.
After when that part comes up,
Yeah.
you're just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
whatever,
Just
forget
skip
I
it.
know we
skip,
skip.
skip,
Like
skip,
let's
skip.
just skip to my favorite part. All
I
right.
personally love Mr. Worldwide. Just saying.
I'm sorry. I can't take that seriously. No one's ever said that.
Pitbull has made the best party songs. You have jumped around to a Pitbull song.
That okay. I
He,
will agree on that.
he made the party
respectfully.
songs that defined the early teens club experience.
Exactly.
House partying when he first
He made,
started.
he made the middle school dance part of that song.
He
Is
did.
that what he made?
Is there
Yes.
any better place to be?
I guess not. That's crazy. That's another crazy thing too. That music has its own timestamp to it, where you're
Yeah.
like, wow, that song
Absolutely.
that song just made me feel like I was in 6th grade or like
Yeah.
something like that. Like that's
grade.
crazy. Like what? But then there's also like songs that I'll listen to now, and I'm like, dang, I haven't heard that song in hella long. And you're like, dang, it brings back memories, like all that stuff. I think that's just a whole crazy aspect of music too.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. That's why Spotify is so awesome too.
Yeah,
That's,
those
you
are
get
crazy.
it
That-
comes up
remember
with different
these?
things.
And you're like,
Yeah,
oh, I do.
exactly.
Oh my God, you know me so well. Spotify.
You get me.
Oh, you understand.
That's great.
That and then in combination with the thing we were just talking about too, how like different genres are being defined. I feel like so many things are getting mixing because like if you looked at my Spotify right now, the top radios would be like some sort of like rock reggae punk mix or whatever,
Yeah.
like weird, like the alt jazz blues,
Yeah, it's all
playlist
becoming
or whatever.
mixed together
It's
rather
all
than
like,
just one it by itself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people mix it up all the time.
oh yeah,
It sounds better when you do that.
yeah.
Creates a beautiful genre of a new baby. It's true. It was so funny because I heard it like when I was watching like the people's reactions when it comes to that song Old Town Road, and this girl, she was like, it's like a mixture of hip hop and country making a beautiful baby. I'm like, well, it's kind of true because it's something totally different.
It's true. Yeah, and that really is the beauty of it right now, is that it's so like these definitions are falling away, which makes it so nice. Isn't that like coming back to the same topic we talked about in the first thing, the first segment?
Full cycle.
We see become
Full
it's like
cycle?
poetry. It rhymes.
You're just throwing around words now.
Isn't like I kind of find it interesting that music today. Okay, well, let me just ask you this. It's a much easier way to go about it. Do you think that an artist who makes a song should be allowed to say what charts it goes on? Like, do you think if they say like this is rock, it should be on the rock thing, or should it be up to
To a
someone else?
certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because then people are going to start messing
Because
around,
if,
you know.
if
Yeah.
I was an artist, I'd be like, yeah, that's gonna go on the like indie one, and just because no one else is competing with me on that, I can just get
That's
every
true.
award
Yeah.
ever, and
That's
like
true.
get
Classical
number ones.
charts.
Yeah, yeah, put it on,
Yeah,
put it on
yeah.
the classical
Top
one.
of
Like,
them.
yeah, that's
The
definitely
new
classical.
Beethoven.
Yeah.
I had a violin in there for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I don't know, but I do think they should have at least some kind of leeway into like, this is what I felt I represented in that song.
Yeah.
I should
Absolutely.
be in there with obviously like some kind of executive like, yeah, we understand that, but not to the point of like them just being like, nope, it's this.
Yeah.
Nope, it's that. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
think
I would agree with
A
you.
lot of artists would honestly prefer not to say what genre they're
That's
part
true,
of.
too.
I think
Yeah.
you were right before when you said it's just really about the awards and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
That's the
it's a
only time
huge
genre
business side of
really
it. Yeah.
comes
Matters,
up,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
and
true.
comes into it is when you're maybe like, okay, yes, I'd like to be in the hip hop category or whatever. But other than that, I feel like a lot of artists aren't out there like, yeah, I'm a rapper, and that's it. You know, that's all they say. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think maybe because of awards, more artists are sticking to their own genre
Yeah.
instead of adventuring
That's
out
true.
and doing different things because
Dang, it's holding them
awards
back.
mean so much. But
It's
I think
true.
They always
I
do.
think
and
awards
for
are
all of this
losing
stuff.
their power in
Yeah.
a way because
Yeah.
of the way we now
And viewership.
we stream music.
Yeah.
We don't go to a store and if an album's
Yeah.
not doing well, it just gets thrown away. It just gets put in the back.
That's very
It's
true.
more you can scroll through everything on Spotify and you can send it to somebody else and you can share it with so many people.
Yeah.
And
That
Shazam it. And
yeah, it's so easy to find music and share it and come back to music or go to this music and listen to different genres without having to spend as much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mix and match.
That was the best part about iTunes when it first came out. That it was that really was the
That's
switch.
true.
Like the iTunes coming out and deciding that you could buy each song individually
Yeah.
completely turned the entire market on its head. There's a lot of like uproar about it back in the time too.
Listen to my whole album. None of it at all.
It's meant as a whole piece. You wouldn't read one chapter in a book.
I was
I mean,
gonna
I
say
would
like
if
I just
Oh, it's a great chapter.
Right.
I just always feel like something new is always gonna make somebody complain about something, but like Noah said, they're gonna get over it and they're gonna like it at some point. So it's like it is what it is. Y'all didn't like something at first, and y'all like it now. So
I always don't like something.
like when jazz came out, oh, that's the devil's music. And
Yeah,
now
no,
everybody likes,
that's
and
what
it's like
I'm
the
saying,
most
yeah.
relaxing kind
It
of genre
is,
of
it
music.
is.
So it's like how it's just funny how back
Wait.
then to them it was just like, oh my god, it's scary, it's something new.
We do want to draw a line between smooth jazz and jazz, though.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause there's
yeah.
a big,
Just
big
like
difference.
I know you have a
Jazz.
problem with jazz. Right? We know
I
you have
love
a
jazz.
problem
I like
with
all
jazz.
kinds of jazz. It could be
Samba,
scat jazz.
tapas, pick one. No, it's no, jazz is chaos. So just I'm gonna leave it at that.
Beautiful.
Scat jazz,
I know,
baby.
jazz is
Scat
awesome.
Because it's all over the place, like they just make it up as they go.
Jazz right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, our live artist this
Right?
week.
I know. There you go.
Just standing there, like,
And they actually make it up as they go, and it's not even actual like something they've written it down. It's
Right.
just how they feel at that moment, and boom, that's it. That's the song.
Slam
Jazz is
poetry of
cool.
music.
I learned all of this from La La Land. Just want you to know
That's
that.
why. That's bad.
what's
That was the worst thing to admit ever.
Oh,
by
man.
the
That's
way.
why we have
That
country
was-
music. Though.
yeah.
Country music is white people, and just like La La Land, white people save jazz, like or white. Or, so
Interesting argument you're bringing up.
because it was like.
And
We are now so silent. Tell us more
Came out.
about these white
out.
saviors.
I know.
Country music started in the South, and a lot of it is with African American slaves who started it. There were a lot of themes in that style of music that were started by people working.
Negro spirituals.
Yeah, and so it was, and then white people came in
spirituals,
and
that's what they
took it
call it.
over, and they developed it into something else, and now you have artists going back into it, and people are having a problem with it, saying it's not country.
Yeah.
But it's like you were so quick to say like, but it's like same thing with jazz, where it's like jazz has always been deeply rooted in the South as well,
Yeah.
like Louisiana. That is where jazz is born and raised. So, and then everyone's like, oh my God, jazz is so good after watching La La Land, and it's like that's not
I'm
even
saying,
real
damn, just admit
jazz.
But I watched it and I didn't like it still, so.
And that's fine.
Katie's
What
upset.
I did was not problematic.
I was in the right.
Yeah.
No, we talked about Johnny Cash too, and like if you listen
Yeah.
to Johnny Cash,
Yep.
who's like, we talked about he's like very much so a country and like rock artist, like he's very attached to those two genres. If you listen to him and you listen to country music now, it's different. Like he
Yeah,
sounded
exactly.
like a blues
Yep.
artist. He sounded very
Completely
bluegrass.
different.
It's completely different.
It has
but so
evolved
many
so
people
much.
connect to that. So it's like everything's going to change.
Yeah.
And it's going to
Evolution.
evolve, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's always
Right.
the classic still, right? You can still listen to Johnny
Yeah.
Cash.
Exactly.
And it's fine. You can still listen to
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of Tim McGraw,
Elvis,
and it's fine, right?
George Strait.
I don't know any country artists. Tim McGraw. And then and then you can listen to Lil Nas too. Everything is still there. It's not like an either or. You don't have to. If you
Yeah.
accept Lil Nas, it's not like everything else before him doesn't exist
Exactly.
anymore. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't invalidate the whole genre simply
No.
because someone's skirting the line or whatever they want to call it. No, honestly, I think country music would be a completely different genre if Ford trucks didn't exist. So, I mean, that's.
Why are you burning up country music
Oh,
right now?
Don't get me wrong, I love country music. Well, define love.
That's
But,
what I'm saying.
but I like country
The
music.
same way you
That's
love
what I'm
jazz.
saying. This song
See
would
the
be perfect
immediate
for people who
regret
don't
that came
like
out of his
country.
mouth. I love country.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how often do you hear people saying, "Oh, I love country"? Not
Yeah.
very
It's
often.
always,
Not
what
here.
kind of music
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
like? I like all music except for country.
So that's what I'm saying. I hear that from a lot of people
Yeah.
too.
That's
So
a
it's
lot.
like, what's
People
wrong
are
with
like, I
having this
listen to all
song?
types of music. Country,
I actually think country is.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually think country is like one of the most popular.
That's
genres.
true.
Oh, it
It
is.
is.
I
Oh,
think,
in
I'm
the
pretty
US.
sure it
We're in a
always
bubble.
tops the
And I
list.
think-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
we're
pretty sure
totally
it
in a
almost
bubble.
always
They,
tops the list.
they have like 4 country music awards throughout
Like a year.
spaced throughout the year.
insane.
The
That's
what I'm saying. Keith
ACMs, the
Swift was cleaning
CMTs,
those
the
up.
whole.
CMTs. I swear CMT is a thing.
Yeah, CMTs, country music television.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So,
knew it was a thing. I wasn't crazy.
all right. Well, I think that was a very productive discussion.
It was. We all got
Yeehaw.
No, totally. A lot of revelations to be had here. We've referenced a lot of things this week and ragged a little bit on country music.
Yep. Good times.
So thank you all for joining us this week on the podcast, Posse Podcast. Tune in next week where we will be discussing something else.
fun.
Thank you. Have a good week.
The exponential growth from the program from my first year to my third year now, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me excited and just like fulfills me as a person.
It's so impressive, and we every time we walk in here, you guys are doing something different. It's great. It's
Nothing but opportunities here, and we have sports to cover, we have the equipment.
Because the more ambitious you are, the more opportunities you'll have.
on-the-job training is huge.
You get the hands-on experience.
When someone asks who can do it, you can raise your hand and say, I can do it. So.
Joining the class was the best decision I ever made.
Cross court to Audrey Jones. Audrey for three. It is good! With 1.3 seconds left on the game clock. Audrey Jones with one of the biggest shots.
The sky's the limit, really, with what we can do here.
College just got affordable. Up to 100% of enrollment fees can be reimbursed for first-time college students taking full-time classes. At Solano Community College, we are taking full advantage of this to further your future. With certificate and degree programs in industrial technology, aeronautics, biotechnology, and many others, Solano Community College is a staple for success. For more information, please contact the Financial Aid Office at 707-864-7000.